This is Sunny Fonseca with Mortgages with Sunny. Welcome to my new podcast. On this podcast, we'll be discussing a little bit about everyday scenarios that do occur during a loan process, also connecting with realtors to expand their business, and also giving you some scenarios and tips on purchasing a home. The difference between pre-approval and pre-qualification. That's a huge difference, okay? Now, a pre-approval is where your mortgage representative has ran your buyer's credit, has verified their income, has verified their assets, and they're ready to shop. That's when a pre-approval is sent out to your buyer. And like this, the realtor and the buyer are kind of at ease because they already know, they already have all their numbers in place. Now, pre-qualification is something where you're completing a loan application, like from different 1-800 numbers or online, and they haven't reviewed your income or assets or anything of that kind. And then, God forbid, you get under contract and then they receive all your information, and then it's opens Pandora's box. So definitely there is a huge difference between pre-approval and pre-qualification. For my realtors, it's very important to go ahead and have a full pre-approval, and always communicate with the mortgage broker, whether you're receiving a pre-approval from a different broker or it's one of mine. Go ahead and communicate with them so that you know what is behind the scenes. Definitely a pre-qualification is something where you're just completing a loan application and from a huge banking institution online, and they issue it without reviewing your proper documentation. It is so important before you even think to start looking for a home to get pre-approved. Like this, you have a numbers perspective. Do not go to realtor.com. Do not go to Zillow.com and run some numbers. I've had so many people say, well, Zillow tells me this. I'm sorry. They don't have the correct scenario, right? Every situation is different. The reason why getting pre-approved first is like this. You are aware of what your monthly payment would be, how much down payment you need. And if there's something that needs to be fixed on your credit report, you catch that now, so that again, you have a smooth process once you're under contract. Once all documentation, such as your income documentations, your credit score, and a loan application is received along with some assets, I go ahead and take 24 hours to go ahead and issue a full pre-approval for my realtors, right? Once you have your client's pre-approval, also contact the mortgage broker that pre-approved them. Just like this, you are also aware that that loan officer is actually part of the transaction, does answer their phone. That's a huge thing. I always answer my phone. So a pre-approval in your hand gives you some sort of sanity and security that this buyer has been fully pre-approved. Like this, the buyer is more at ease, and so is my realtors, so that they know so that everybody's on the same page. And they already are aware of what the monthly payment would be based on the property that they're looking to place an offer on. Most important documents that are needed for a full pre-approval is number one, the loan application. You want to have at least 2 years of your W-2s and or business tax returns, last 2 pay stubs, and 2 months of bank statements. Everything on a full pre-approval does require a 2-year or 2-month history on it. Once you have all that, a full pre-approval is an easy process and takes about 24 hours, with me at least. And that's it. A pre-approval is intimidating. I get it. It's not the easiest process. It is intimidating, but if you don't know now, you're going to either know in the future or you're never going to know, right? So a pre-approval is actually probably the best place to start for somebody who is a bit intimidated. You're just having a conversation and you're just seeing where you stand. Again, it goes back to your credit. Do I need to fix anything on that? Do I need to pay anything off on that? Can I really afford this? Is this something that I really want to do? Do I want to put all my eggs in one basket? So a full pre-approval is just a consultation. Keep that in mind. It's not a full solid review, but it's to get you to the finish line easier and get you ready for home ownership. You'd be surprised of how many times I've had people call me on a Sunday and say, hey, I'm going to place an offer without even being pre-approved. It is so important for my realtors to have your buyers pre-approved. Nothing is ever promised until the day you have your keys in your hand, right? So definitely gathering all these documentations, it may be tedious in the beginning, I get it, but that's only to make the loan process smoother for your buyers and for our realtors. If the buyer sends you all the proper documentation ahead of time like this, you don't have to ask for anything, and they have a smooth process once a file goes to underwriting and no surprises. So definitely my realtors encourage your buyers to have full documentations in and do the loan application. It is intimidating and tedious, but like this, you get the hard part out of the way and then you have a walk in the park. Now, just because you have a pre-approval letter, you still have to go through an underwriting process. Underwriters are like regulators. They check your 7th grade locker number. This is why it's important to be straightforward with your mortgage broker. Let them know ahead of time just so that they are aware and they can kind of guide you to what is about, and they can guide you to the questions that may occur. Once a file is underwritten, then you receive something called a conditional approval. Those conditions may be such as an appraisal, purchasing a homeowner's insurance, so forth, so on. Once you're at that part, you can sit back and relax a little bit. That's where I come into place. We gather all additional documentation needed, and then we get you to the finish line faster. Like they say, don't count your chickens before they hatch. You can celebrate once you have the keys in your hand.